The People's Bureau of Investigation is fully aligned with the Environmental Marshal Service. We'll be working together to do exactly what Donald Trump advised on April 17, 2020. He told us to liberate the states. The liberation of the states is happening. We will be working together until our mission, the liberation of the nation, is complete. I have Tom on the line and he will explain more details shortly. We have the power and the plan that everyone has been searching for. As a people, we have all power, and as our Declaration of Independence requires, we must provide new guards and abolish whatever governments are destructive. Redress of grievances are entirely ignored, and tyrants are planted and stacked in all governments at all levels. Even our sheriffs are treasonous and derelict in their duties. They've done little to nothing to restore law and order. We have served sheriffs multiple official warnings about what is coming and cannot be stopped. They have ignored them. They either need to come to the aid of the people or they must be removed for crimes against humanity that all responsible corporate officers, including sheriffs, are guilty of. Our water has been poisonous for decades. Federal water pollution control requires our servants to provide us with the cleanest drinking water possible based on the latest technology. Our servants in law enforcement buried and hid the law and the technology for our entire lifetime. The law has been on the books since 1972, and these are crimes against humanity. This is environmental law under the highest court on the land, known as the Environmental Court, a court of the people under God's law. The Environmental Court is a court established by an act of Congress in 1972 and commissioned by the people in 2013. This vast cover-up has led to a new level of government overreach. Our governments are scrambling to further cover this up with more crimes. One lie leads to another lie, and one crime leads to another crime. Therefore, we live in lawless times. This crime regarding our water is the foundation of all the lawlessness we are experiencing. JFK organized the Congress to ratify the law. Public Law 92-500, codified under Title 33 in Section 1251 at SEEK. The deep state is funded off of the antiquated criminal sewer revenue that has poisoned us for a lifetime. This practice dates back to moats around castles and drain courts during the Roman Empire. Visit the website ewg.org/tapwater to see the levels of cancer-causing poison in your local water that should have been eliminated by law decades ago. So-called law enforcement is covering up laws on the books and crimes with more crimes. Law enforcement is warring against the people. They do not enforce God's laws regarding clean water that the people deem extremely important. They do not protect our rights given by God. This has to change. Sheriffs are our public servants. They cannot currently make arrests because they too are guilty of the same crime and cover-up. The people need our jails to house criminals that are guilty of crimes against humanity. As responsible corporate officers, the sheriffs are guilty of strict liability statutes. Ignorance is no excuse, especially for law enforcement. They too have been convicted. The people have a path they can follow in hopes for leniency for their crimes. It is now time to serve all sheriffs writs of execution for the crimes. We are approaching a time in which the people will lawfully arrest our sheriffs because they are convicted of felony crimes against humanity and refuse to enforce the law and protect the people's rights. Make no mistake about it. Having all power, the people have all the authority they need to arrest our employees. They must be arrested if they do not sign the resolution by a constitutional sheriff that brings them into compliance with the law and the protection of our rights, land, air, and water. I will now share the documents that all mama bears, bonds for the wind people, First Amendment auditors, and all patriots should adopt as a number one priority. This is the cover letter to the sheriffs that will go with the resolution agreement and the writs of execution. You can see this document here. All these documents are on the pbi.us website. But if you look at this document, it says we currently have 175 bar attorneys in the U.S. Congress. Bar attorneys are British accredited registered agents, often referred to as esquires. Esquire is a title of nobility. They are also referred to as bank authorized representatives. The U.S. Constitution says there shall be no title of nobility granted by the United States. That's in Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8. Bill of Rights, Article 13, which was hidden for many years, states the same. No titles of nobility. We have titles of nobility in our government. We have them in the governors, we have them as mayors, we have them throughout. That can no longer be the case for obvious reasons. This document is President Donald J. Trump's Uniform NPDES Standards of Performance, Uniform Effluent Limitation Guidelines, Uniform Categorical Pretreatment Standards, and Uniform Water Quality Standards. NPDES, Uniform Standard of Performance. You can see this document here is a quite involved document that indicates the guidelines that are supposed to be in place and enforced by law, and they are not. It's regarding the technologies that have been hidden, inventions to make our lives better that are hidden. This document is a resolution by a constitutional sheriff. This document needs to be signed. Then the sheriff is to send it to the address on the bottom. And this brings them into compliance with the law. Protection of our rights, our land, our air, and our water. This document is a resolution by a responsible corporate officer. This brings them into compliance the same as the sheriff's resolution does. And this would be served to governors, mayors, members of Congress, bar attorneys, so on and so forth. This is the document, writ of execution. Uniform writ of execution, notice of criminal conviction, demand for settlement of penalties, citizen's arrest, no warrant required. This document is the document that the people will fill this out, this top part, and this outlines the counts of the criminal violations that have been going on for the last several decades. Again, all of these documents on the pbi.us website. We need to serve the documents registered mail, or if First Amendment auditors wish to get involved, or others wish to serve in person, there is a hand delivery process that will be explained at a later date. All of these documents are available on the PBI website. We are answering questions 4 nights a week in a Q&A voice chat on the People's Bureau of Investigation Telegram page. Admins can help with questions anytime. Sending documents by registered mail is a very simple process that is being taught and explained daily. This is a call to action video. We need all sheriffs in America to be served as quickly as possible so they can attempt to sort themselves out. The deadline of March 23rd has passed. Justice is coming. These documents get sent by registered mail only. Sheriffs can sign and return the resolution by a constitutional sheriff document and seek refuge. If they do not sign the resolution in a month, bounty hunters and oath keepers can perform whatever arrest may be required. This is not a threat by any one person or group of people. The crimes are blatant. All guilty persons, responsible corporate officers, have been convicted of strict liability statute by the environmental court. At best, they will go before a tribunal of 3. I have Tom with the Environmental Marshal Service on the line to explain bounties and the law and the environmental court. Tom, go ahead.
Thank you, Tim. I wish to let the people know the citizens have been authorized by the law and the environmental court with full arrest authority to take action to enforce this clean water law. Every responsible corporate officer since July 1, 1973, has been operating in violation of a minimum of 6 felony violations of this congressional mandate of the highest priority, now a strict liability statute, and have all been convicted of the same. The Environmental Court has authorized a $10,000 citizens arrest reward, i.e. bounty, to be awarded to the arresting person or persons, upon presentment of the arrest and booking documents of each responsible corporate officer arrested. Further, a $20,000 bounty is authorized for every person arrested who is a bar member officer of the court. Upon their arrest, the booking documents must be sent to the processing center as proof of the arrest. First, you must lawfully serve the responsible corporate officer notice of his/her conviction and give them 30 days from the date of service of the writ of execution to execute the resolution agreeing to adopt and enforce this federal environmental law of the highest priority within their respective jurisdictions. A court tribunal of 3 people will consider and decide on the final penalties to be imposed upon the responsible corporate officers' execution of the resolution and their plea of mercy and forgiveness. The decision of the environmental court is final and cannot be overturned by any court. If this resolution is not received by the court's processing center within that 30-day period from the date of service, arrest of the responsible corporate officer is justified, no warrants required. The bounty will be paid to the arresting person within 45 days in the form of a check issued by the Secretary of the United States Treasury. Every person in government is committing these crimes daily. Every person in government is a responsible corporate officer. Every responsible corporate officer must comply or be subject to prosecution and arrest.
Thanks, Tom. So it's now our duty as the people to see that laws are enforced. To obtain swift justice and success, all patriots must join in on the liberation of the nation mission. This is a call to service for everyone who wants to be free to get involved. Visit the documents page on the People's Bureau of Investigation website and join the People's Bureau of Investigation Telegram channel. No one is coming to save us. It is up to we, the people, to save ourselves from tyranny. God bless you. God bless America.